130 from threes. Hold on tight 7-2. Big jump then to Silk Route is at 14-1, Shamaheart at 16s. Another big jump to Goldie Horn, 40s and 50s, Hallingham 40s and Lalinde at 40s. So we'll start, John, by talking about Fledged, who we mentioned at the start of the show. He was second behind Great Hall at Newmarket last time. That was over this trip. He definitely seems to be going the right way. This is just his third start.
Yeah, normally by this time of the season, 3-year-old mile-and-a-half handicaps tend to pass you by because they're full of horses who have had their chances, but this isn't the case. And Fledged, just a 2 run so far, and that Great Hall run has certainly been advertised just this afternoon when Great Hall won a decent handicap at Haydock with a mark of 88. That probably factors a little touch more into the price of Fledged, but certainly going the right way and looked all about stamina last time up, and this trip probably the minimum I thought for Fledged.
He's got some decent horses up against him, however. I don't think this is any kind of penalty kick. Let's move on to the filly Hold On Tight, first off. A very encouraging racecourse debut at Newmarket behind great timing last September when she was green and very much not knocked about. And then she was beaten favoured on her return this year. That was at Kempton over 11 furlongs. She was outpaced and beaten. She's very stoutly bred.
Yeah, that was a disappointing effort at Kempton, but I know Rafe Beckett hasn't lost the faith in this filly. On that occasion, I remember Jim Crowley went down from Chester that day just to ride that filly in the evening, who had, at the time, some pretty fancy entries. But she only had the 2 stars. She can clearly get back on track, and she showed a lot of promise in that run as a 2-year-old. There's been a little bit of money for her, and I think she's got a chance of turning over the favourite because she's clearly better than what she showed that night at Kempton.
And a galloping track and turf which allows more of a gallop than all-weather mile-and-a-half handicaps tend to, you know, that would suit her.
That should certainly be in her favour, and all about stamina as well, the breeding Hernando filly, and she's got to be better than what we saw at Kempton that night. And what we saw at Newmarket last back end in her debut, there was money for her on that occasion as well. She's clearly been held in high regard, and I certainly don't think this is an easy one for the favourite.
Now, Battalion was this should have been his 4th start. He was withdrawn down at the start on his intended debut at Newmarket, but then he did make his debut in a Hotchester maiden, won by Spaceship, in which he finished 5th. Did you think it was an improvement last time when he was 2nd at Leicester?
No, I didn't actually. On balance, I thought it was a bit disappointing. Well, a 5-4 on favour, only a 4-runner race. Looked set to get off the mark in that contest, but just looked a little bit ungainly for most of the straight and was reeled in close home. Just a 2 run, so may well still be learning the ropes, but I'm not too sure of the value of that form.
What do you think of his head carriage?
I didn't know it was greenest, but it looked a bit ungainly for the last couple of furlongs, I thought, up the straight at Leicester that night, and it may go on just after the 2 runs, but it wasn't what I wanted to have seen.
Do you think he wants the mile-and-a-half?
Can't say for sure. There was getting reeled in close home on that occasion, just the 2 runs. Couldn't be absolutely certain either way, but maybe not as certain a mile-and-a-half horse as the other 2, who certainly look, on performance so far, Fledged and Hold On Tight, as if they want all of this trip.
Let's move on to another filly in the race. This is Silk Route, who was unraced as a 2-year-old, and she made her debut in a decent fillies maiden at this course over 10 furlongs. She was beaten quite a long way, 17 lengths by Cushion, and she was green. She never really got into it.
Yeah, it definitely showed some promise on that occasion, and shaped as this trip will be okay, although on breeding that is definitely a concern. The problem is that form of that race has taken a few knocks already, and I think some of the 3 at the top of the market offer a fair bit of resistance and certainly look more stamina proven.
You're thinking about Bantam having been beaten, switched to the all-weather, although astonishing one last night, who was 3rd.
Yeah, I think that was probably the first win. I think there was 3 or 4 losers from the race so far, and Bantam was beaten at Wolverhampton handicap on Monday. But on balance, the form of the race, I've seen Newbury maidens work out better than that one.
OK. Shamaheart, how about this horse who's having his 7th start here?
Yeah, ordinary form to date, looks more exposed than most of these. Up in trip and stamina on breeding is certainly a concern for that one as well.
And the 3 big outsiders, what's happening in the background there? Hold On Tight, apparently just being a bit uncooperative. The 3 large outsiders?
Yeah, well, Goldie Horn was tailed off in a couple of bumpers and looks an absolute no-hoper. Hauling them well beaten at big prices will likely find handicaps in Moy's bag after this. And Lalinde was green on debut and needs to make a huge improvement.
Yeah. last one going forward is Shamaheart. Let's join Ian.
Shamaheart then to still 4. Completes the line. They're ready. They're off. They race away 1.5 miles in front of them for this Shively Park Stud sponsored maiden. And last into the gate, Shamaheart was just first out, although now Goldie Horn in blue colours and the grey and blue of Le Lind, and also the favourite Fledged with the pink cap. He's very free in the early part of the race, fighting for his head. And so they begin to settle down and race on now to the final 1.25 miles. Horlingham's the back marker. Silk Route hold on tight towards the rear also. And Battalion in the dark blue is midway down the field. But it is La Lind who's been allowed to stride through by Darren Egan. She takes quite a strong hold in front, but got to lead her 3 or 4 lengths now. Goldie Horn, blue and white colours for William Tristan Davis. Sits alongside William Buick on the favourite Fledged with a pink cap. He's not fully settled even yet as they come to the end of the back straight. Dark blue colours, that's Sylvester de Souza on Battalion, runs against the rails, although he's preceded by Shamaheart and Sean Levy in orange and green colours, who holds 4th. Hold on tight, Jim Crowley, a combination of white, blue and red, making progress to join in with Battalion now. 2 lengths behind those is Dane O'Neill on Silk Route in the white colours, and then Horlingham, black and orange colours for Martin Harley, is the back marker. On the side of the track now, coming down to halfway, about to turn towards home. It's a 1.5 lengths lead for La Lind over Fledged in second place, 2 lengths behind those Shamaheart. Moved into third, goes ahead of Goldie Horn, who's weakened to 4th. Hold on tight, Red Sleeves making progress on the outside of Battalion. And then comes Silk Route as they level up for home. Fledged, I think, a little unbalanced around the turn, took a couple of them a bit wide, as La Lind continues to have a good lead as they come down to the half-mile pole. So La Lind in front, Fledged the pink cap in second. Shamaheart is next. Silk Route, that's come into it nice. She travels okay, the white jacket. Battalion, Sylvester de Souza's moved to the extreme left in the dark blue. Jim Crowley on Hold On Tight is next to him, the filly with a white face, as they go past the 3 marker. Fledged has ended up in front, but plenty of challengers. Shamaheart's taking it on. And then comes Hold On Tight. Then the giant Battalion now down the centre is getting into full stride. Silk Route behind those. Fledged has weakened, having pulled too hard early on, and Shamaheart's been beaten plenty of times, but he's in front as he heads towards the last furlong. Hold on tight, the white face in second place. Fledged is rallying, the pink jack, the pink cap, the far side. Battalion behind those. Shamaheart in front. Hold on tight has joined it. Fledged is trying to come back as they race towards the line. Hold on tight and Fledged in a very close thing. Shamaheart, Battalion and Silk Route behind them.
Well, it's close on the line. Is it the filly Hold On Tight, number 6 on the near side? It does look that way, rather than Fledged, who rallied towards the far side. In third, it was Shamaheart, who much of the final 2 furlongs looked likely to score at the 7th time of asking, but maybe his stamina has just run out near the line. But they're finished in a bit of a bunch. Battalion, who hasn't really landed a blow on the leaders, are stuck on for 4th, and in 5th, that is Silk Route. Do you think the filly's got it?
Yeah.
Odd little race, wasn't it?
Here is the
Here's
result.
the result.
We've got to finish for first place. First, number 6,
Yeah,
Hold On
confirmed.
Tight.
Hold On Tight is won for Rafe Beckett and Jim Crowley. Second, Fledged for John Gosden and William Buick. And third, Shamaheart for Sean Levy and Richard Haddon. 5-2, the filly Hold On Tight is returned. It seemed like slow motion stuff in the straight, didn't it?
Yeah. We just see the finish here. Before the race, I must admit, I thought this maiden could give us a few clues for the future, but I don't know how many positive ones can come out of the race. Hold On Tight has just about nicked on the line from Fledged, who rallied. We'll see it from the start, and a few of them never really settled at all. La Lind went to the front under Darren Egan, but was very keen. And of the market leaders, both Fledged and to a lesser degree, I think Battalion just raced a little bit keener than they would have certainly hoped for their jockeys, and in fact Fledged has actually come back and run on well, considering how he pulled in the early stages, but just couldn't get quite back in time.
Battalion also went to his left at the start. He's still sort of, the best way of reading it is still sort of gawky and green, but there was just nothing at the business end.
Now, I think in the case of Battalion, 1.5 miles is as far as he wants to go. He might want dropping back, he might want easier ground, but
That's a lot of mites.
yeah, we're getting to the stage now where